everyone. We are Detect Nerd, and we are here with Jon Sideriadis, the creator of Lair of the Spider Lord, along with Astromythos. Setting that we're actually doing an actual play podcast on. Did you guys know that? What?
It wasn't just coming out of Elizabeth's head.
And so I run the game. This is the cast. And then we're here to talk to Jon a little bit about the setting and the world and like his creative process and everything. Does anybody want to
Lead off.
jump in and lead off?
First or last one of the two, right? So, Jon, I was curious about, and maybe you could go into a little bit of detail. I'm sure it's we've talked a little bit about it. Can you tell me a little bit about sort of the interactions between Starfolk and humanity prior to humanity's mining of Moonflesh, and sort of what that relationship looked like?
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's great to finally meet you guys all in person, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
I appreciate you, taking time out of your day to meet with me, and I'm really excited about the campaign. So thank you for, getting together and, putting on such a good show.
Of course, yeah.
It's really intense and exciting. I love it. It's awesome. Most starfolk, stars and moons and planets and, meteors and asteroids and things, they thought that Nevma, who was the first star in the universe of the story, created life and humanity to destroy the stars. So they're really worried about her creating something, even before they knew what it was, creating life and creating some sort of organism that would destroy the stars, that would become their enemy, that would basically wreak vengeance on her husband, Arikos, the second star. And this is why Protostar is sent to destroy mankind, the narrator of the illustrated novel of book one, the series that the module is based on. But as he and it takes a long time for him to get to the Earth-like planet named Zos. And while he's traveling and telling his stories and observing them, because that's the only thing he could do, because he's kind of boring, he develops sympathy for them. And, he's observing their civilizations rise and fall on his journey to destroy them. By the time he gets there, it's a little bit of a spoiler alert for those who are interested in reading book two. He decides that he doesn't want to destroy them or help in the act of destroying life or humankind. So after that, when humanity sort of popped up, and evolved into, sentient beings and sort of like the humans we have today in our world, the starfolk viewed them as just like, another life form that they could live alongside with, that they could get along with, or hopefully not have to do battle with at any point. And a lot of this is the point of one of the points of the story, and then the trilogy is a lot of the creatures that lived with humans on Earth were descended from stars, like the Nanos. They're basically like half moon characters. So the Nanos and humans did get along at one point. The sort of like celestial beings that lived on Earth along with humans, but then as human lords came and went, they started becoming more and more evil and greedy, and then the starfolk started to worry about humankind, and they started to believe that the prophecy was true, that Nevma was creating life or humankind to destroy the stars, and as an act of vengeance. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay,
definitely one of the more fun aspects of playing within the setting and the module is sort of like exploring that dynamic, especially with a vast majority of us playing Starfolk, and then the one human at the table. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you, Douglas. It's certainly been one of the more fun aspects of the setting to kind of like explore in storytelling. So it
Well,
was
thank you.
certainly something that I kind of was curious about.
Yeah, a lot of the Star Folk. I mean, even at the point in time when the story takes place in the module, they really want to like be friendly with humans and have a good reputation with them. But um, there's so many men that have gotten corrupted by the evil characters in the story that it makes it hard for them to. And it's almost like they view humans, star folk and half moons, half comets, and all sorts of characters like that. Um, view humans as almost like the Vikings of their age, like they fear the wrath of of humankind, or the Norsemen, as it
Sort
were.
sort of almost like the sort of like cultural threat of like, hey, these are the scary guys that like I have kind of assumed are looming on the horizon, but now they're becoming the real threat that we thought they were for a long time, kind of thing.
Yeah, like a Viking vampire superhuman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
the Starspire.
Okay, so first of all, I love your brain. Phenomenal setting.
Oh, thanks.
Super
Appreciate
fun
that.
to play. Having a blast. And I'm actually really excited. We play again this weekend, which is like been the thing I've been looking forward to most in the last long time. So I'm really excited. I'm really, really jazzed to be playing this game. The question that I was interested in, having listened to your conversation with Elizabeth prior, was that it was said that you had started this in 2000 and now it is 2025, which is a whole lot of time. And I imagine you have changed and grown as a human being. And while you're writing this and illustrating it, do you feel like you started, like, how do you feel like that has changed your setting or developed your setting, or and is the world around it kind of influencing that? Because a lot of the kind of themes that we are feeling while playing are very reminiscent of things that we're watching in the real world. And it's like the
Pretty
darkness
much.
and I mean, it's like, and that's like, it's a lot, there's a lot of layers. So I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, that all goes back to the original conflict that is described in the first book. It's just stars trying to stay light. The battle between light and darkness. And darkness is trying to consume all light in the universe. That's the basis of the entire series. Um, so the characters in the module and in book two, they're still trying to maintain like the balance of the universe and a sense of goodness in a mad world, a crazy world and universe. So the story and the setting developed better than I'd hoped by this point. I knew I wanted to like either publish it or put it out there, get it in the public eye in some capacity, but I didn't think it would come to this point. So I'm really excited about that. So it's good that I never really grew tired of inventing new characters and stories and ideas for new stories and new books and new illustrations. Um, I just when I was in high school and college, I was just sketching characters and coming up with simple story ideas, like maybe an idea for a character or an idea that was um, like really inspiring for some sort of new plot. I didn't know if it was going to be a book. I originally went to film school, so I didn't quite know what I was doing. I just wanted to create content. I don't know if I would ever use what I was creating, what I was sketching every day before class at like 6 or 7 a.m. before the teacher walked in, and on the weekends at the library, and just doing everything I could to make this world a reality. But I just continued to create content and just sharpen my skills and follow, follow a certain path that I was happy with. And that's how I really saw it develop over the last 24 years. And book 2 and a lot of the module is a reaction to what's been going on in the world, not just now, but in the past, in history. But of course, there's a lot of things that are sort of parallels in the book that are kind of microcosms of what's happening now in our world, in our society. So the bleakness of the setting, for instance, which is mostly based on book 2, is definitely a reflection of the real world evolving, sort of, in a way. Not entirely, of course, but I sort of exaggerate it, in my stories, in my books. And the planet's gradual destruction due to human carelessness and things like that. It's a really big problem. I think it needs to be addressed by more people in every shape and form.
Well, yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
something we
I
can
think it's like
ignore. I want
particular.
to
Sorry,
contribute.
I think it's like really
It is.
particularly interesting because we're like, especially the way that you have kind of uh, illustrated, and I don't mean literally illustrated. I mean also like with the stories, uh, the degradation um of planets, of resources, of heart, of goodness, of all of those. It's just really I find it really fascinating how we're playing through this, and it's like the like bits of how I feel about the world right now are really coming out, and it's like it's really interesting to play. It's actually probably been one of my favorite things to play because of how complex it is and how a lot of the emotions that are evoked are actually very relatable, even though we're talking about star people and I'm playing a comet. And at first I was a little kind of unsure how to play, like how to wrap my brain around playing a character like Indo, because it's so foreign to like I always try to find something in my characters that I can very much find in myself. But then once I got into the setting, it was like, oh no, okay, this is familiar. Even though it's like, I mean, you wrote an entire mythos. I mean, it's amazing. It's very, very much a really awesome setting. So I'm really appreciative of it. It's really great.
Well, thank you. I really like your character too.
Dude, comets
Getting
are
me deep
rad.
up.
I'm so happy. And I didn't even realize
Really.
that I accidentally. So I like typically in our games play lizards. And so I somehow accidentally chose lizards who have things with eyeballs is like kind of my thing. And then so somehow I accidentally chose a star or like a space bit that had a tail and eyeballs, which is phenomenal. Purely coincidence, but I am very happy. So
I'm glad that worked out. That's a half comet.
yeah,
We decided to start calling them half comets
half
because
comets.
it's
Heck
easier.
yeah.
Yeah, half stars, half moons, half comets. Yeah, that the half part just means they're the smaller human version of something bigger that's out in space.
Yeah, that was something that we were all kind of talking about, was like, and I talked to John about it before we started, was like, so are these all like giant things? And then also there's going to be a very small human. And basically John was like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like, but we kind of made it work. I feel like we did have a who's taller contest already.
I'm
So
the tallest. I'm the tallest.
so that's already there and settled. We've settled that. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask?
Ooh, I pressed a button. Is this still working? Okay. Kind of to that point, I think a lot of the strength in the reflections of the real world around us in this setting are especially highlighted by the like anthropomorphic values that you give the planets and the celestial bodies and everything. And I think that's just like a huge strength of it that I just wanted to compliment you on, because it's very captivating to be like, oh, here's a planet that the humans are on, and then you actually see the image of like this great hulking like beast in the sky with like facial features and everything, and it's like really makes you when you step back from the like mythos and like the fiction that you've written, you step back, you look at the world around you, and you go, yeah, we are on a huge living being that
Mhm.
is kind of being threatened in this way. And so that was just like a very, yeah, it's just like a really impactful way to like describe the world like that. My questions are like not related to this setting. So like but yeah, okay, so I have a very fancy way of wording this, which is I have a very fancy way to word a very simple question, which is so I have seen your like talk and like saw the artistic inspirations that you have when making your work. But when you are not like pulling for your own artistic work, what type of media do you consume in your free time, aka like just what do you like to do? What do you like to read? What do you like to
Oh,
watch? Do you play games? That kind of stuff. That's
how
all.
much time you got? No, I mean, I'm curious about everything, and I love everything. You know, I have so many interests that you can imagine like what my living space looks like. There's little trinkets and figures and kits and brushes and tools everywhere. Just I want to be able to do everything. And yeah, so I could tell you about what I do for entertainment, though. I think that's the main point of your question,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Well, right now I'm watching The Universe. It's a series on. It's one of the streaming series, and I think I watched it before, but I'm rewatching it just to refresh my memory and get sort of start to think about book three, which is maybe the final book in the series. There's going to be a lot more celestial bodies and things in that. But I also watch it for fun because it's really fascinating to me, and I want to know, everything I can, everything about the universe and nature and the world around me. Um, I'm rereading Lord of the Rings because I haven't read it for 20 years, and it's reads completely differently now. I'm really pleased with it, and they're just comparing it to the movies, and this was before the movies, so Hobbit's my favorite book, of course. I don't know. Well, not of course, but that's my favorite book, just so you know. Um, and then after I'm finished reading The Return of the King, I'm going to read the Kalevala, which is, I think, my favorite book ever. Yeah. And if you're not familiar with it, it's the Odyssey of Finland, and it was a enormous, or I guess tremendous inspiration, or source of inspiration for Tolkien's characters and his Middle Earth content. And just every line is just the best thing ever written. It's I highly recommend it. Story by Robert McKee. It's one of the best books, in my opinion, that you can read if you're interested in learning how to write screenplays and write good characters in the stories. But on the other hand, I'm playing Ultima 9. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. It's an old game from the 80s that started in, I think, on the Nintendo system. And Ultima 9's 90s game. It's just like really crappy looking, vintage, like old school game. Not vintage, but like kind of old school, depending on your age. And I love vintage games in general. For the same reason I love the 70s Hobbit cartoon with the songs. I know all the lyrics.
Classic.
Everyone's familiar
Classic.
with that. Especially even the other ones, The Return of the King.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the Ralph Bakshi to a lesser extent, I guess. But Rankin and Bass. I love Rankin and Bass. All the puppet cartoons and the, Thundercats and whatever they do is great. Every 80s cartoon. I'm obsessed with the 80s. I'm an 80s kid. He-Man, we have He-Man everywhere in the house. I have Castle Grayskull down in the basement, Snake Mountain, all the like original figures. I collect figures. That's what I do when I actually have money. I think I even, when I had a good year at Gen Con, which is where Elizabeth and I met, right? I was determined to buy the Fang Fortress D&D playset from the 80s for the action figure line. And I have that down there too.
Wow.
It's my 80s room. Alf, you know, I have some Rainbow Bright. Anyway, that's my guilty pleasure. But I like to paint minis. You probably, imagine that I like painting minis and making terrain.
Mm-hmm.
I made all the terrain for our play testing. I even made like the giant bone building that you encountered in the first episode. And a lot of the little buildings, ruined buildings in the town. I don't want to spoil anything else, but yeah, I love making terrain. I even sell it. I go to like Mordheim conventions. Mordheim is one of the Games Workshop games that's discontinued, but people still play it in Massachusetts, and I sell my terrain there. And
you guys
I
have
play 40K.
You guys have a Mordheim community up there?
Yeah, they have an annual mini convention called Under the Dice.
That's awesome. The luckiest I've been able to find is a Necromunda group, but that's about it.
I wish they reprinted it. Yeah. Now they're focusing on the trench warfare game.
Yeah.
That's their new. Yeah, I think the creator of Mordheim is working on it. But as you might imagine, I've been to 40K. I can't play anymore because it costs 40K.
Yeah, no kidding though. Honestly, yeah.
But I still love it, and my nephew and I, exchange pictures, and I help him paint. And Hero Quest was the game that got me into D&D. That's like my gateway game. That's my favorite board game ever. Talisman, Space Crusade, anything Games Workshop. I just bought a TSR game. We played it on Sunday called Web of Gold. It was one of TSR's like 3D board game sets, just like Fireball Island. If anyone's familiar with Fireball Island. And then when, I listen to classical music, everything from classical to Scandinavian death metal, thrash metal like Megadeth, things like that. But also, Enya and whatever.
Oh, gotta listen to Enya. That's classic. That's the good
Just
stuff.
whatever like mood I'm in, or whatever I'm working on. If it matches the whatever the piece is, evoking, the evocative quality of the piece, then I listen to that. And that's pretty much, in a nutshell, what I, just like, I guess the tip of the iceberg of what I'm into, entertainment wise.
I came home from Gen Con and I had a bunch of like little bits of art, and I was unpacking it the other day and I found a cosmic snail that you had drawn, and it is phenomenal and I cannot wait to hang it up.
Oh yeah, the cosmic
No,
snail.
Cosmo.
Cosmic snail. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But
Thanks.
real cute guy. Real cosmic.
Yeah, he started as sorry.
No, go for it.
As a marginalia character, I was just like doodling it like on the side or in my sketchbook, and I forgot who really liked it. They said, I really like that. Maybe you should draw it. And I drew it, and then I painted it, and I even framed it and brought it to the LexCon, another show. And then it found its way into the book. So it's a funny story. I didn't even have the only thing I knew about it was it's a snail the size of a galaxy, and it's like a galaxy that just looks like a snail. So it moves very slowly, and its spiral shell is the spiral of a galaxy. And then someone, what's his name? Ken Birdwell, I believe. He bought it, and I was really honored because he's one of the animators of the models or the characters in what is it, Valve games like Half-Life.
Oh yeah.
So I was really honored because I grew up on those. I love those.
Yeah, me too. Big fan.
So yeah, glad you like Cosmo. Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I have an incredible time leading this crew, this cast of folks, with the pleasure of being able to use your setting. I will say, as a game master, it's definitely challenging to kind of be in a world that is just so like we were talking about, just like you guys are playing like space beings, you're playing celestial beings. So in order for me to I don't know, I feel like there's something really impactful with that, and so I feel like there needs to be big movements in this story, and so I don't know. It's just like it was a little daunting to start with, and I obviously we still have a little bit to go. You know, we've only recorded a couple episodes, but
Well, I also think there's something familiar about playing games like Dungeons and Dragons in a place like, Faerun or like, high fantasy, right? Where we have seen that done. Sort of like, when people tried to write wizard books after Harry Potter, like there's like a level of like knowing about the lore of a place, right? And so then when you go to this to your setting, there's like an element of like vastness, and
100%.
also because it's space, like literal vastness, but then also there's a vastness of information, and to feel like in order to like approach it with and to honor like the work that you put into it, it's I mean, it's awesome, but there's like a little bit of like trepidation,
and having to like pinpoint
Daunting?
this specific story, just this one, when there's so much going on, like there's like so many things and so much going on, so many things happening,
and to honor like all of that history is like
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and it's interesting coming in as a player, right? Because trying to wrap my brain around all of it, and then like, I mean, it's just so cool. Your brain is so cool, man. I'm like really enjoying it. And it's like really awesome to kind of and it also was like really relieving to hear that it took 25 years for you to compile all of this information because of that, right? Because I'm like, okay, cool. Like we're doing it and we're diving in, and it's great. It's awesome. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you. I have sort of a love-hate relationship with my brain. Yeah.
That's
And I don't
totally
do
fair.
comedy, so I'm glad that you all are so good at bringing like the comedic element and making some comic relief out of every situation. It's something that I really appreciate. And the storytelling's great, like exposition, like the well as an exposition device. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
I was
That
like, I
was
should have done that.
I mean, you did. You gave it to me. You said, "Hey, there's a well, and there's a a thing that and that's I love a dream, and I love a vision. If you give me a prophecy, if you give me an in on that, you better believe I'm gonna do that. But
That made me consider bringing you on as a writer if the animation teleplay takes off, the treatment.
all right, I'll
Yeah.
hold you to that.
Don't worry, my word is good.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a great time. Do you have any questions for anybody at the table? Feel free to pop any of those out if you'd like. Also, I will just say one thing. We did come into this thinking this was going to be a lot more of a serious actual play, and it still is.
Dude, you knew better. We're still trying. You knew better.
We're doing our best to really keep a balance there, and I think we're working on it.
We have to actively try to not be goofy, but I think we're getting there.
Our go-to move, but I also think the second episode, the second half of that, we really got a chance to kind of like.
Well,
buckle down.
and the setting really lends itself to that. I mean, it really does. It's kind of hard to be jokey about, genocide and stuff like that. So, giving the respect it needs of the setting, but then also, we're a big fan of comedic relief. That's just kind of, I can't not be a goofball. So,
No,
anyway,
that's
yeah.
great. I mean, I even sometimes get lose track of characters, and there's so much now that getting back to what you were saying before, sometimes I even lose track of characters, and I have to go reread the book just to remember, who did what when. And sometimes I think like my wife knows the story better than I do, because I'm so focused on making new content and creating the next book that I forget a little bit of the what transpired in the first book or the module, which is almost 100% canon, but it's a little tweaked. I do have questions though.
Yeah.
One of them was, and I guess this is for anyone to answer. What are you looking forward to in this campaign? I guess maybe mostly for the players. This is a question for the players.
Sure. I kind of touching on like what Anna was talking about. I do love sort of the vastness of. I feel like any town we walk into, there will be a story or explanation or something as to why that town is there, or maybe something, like it feels like any given place we go to, there's something going on there, which honestly in any given setting is always one of my favorite things to do, like the exploring aspect, the, like poking at the walls saying, hey, what's this? What's going on over here? But the setting made feel so original to itself that I'm really looking forward to. Maybe I took the easy answer, and if I did, I'm sorry, guys. But I'm really just looking forward to like exploring and encountering everything that you've made, just because everything we've encountered so far feels very original and like, oh, it's like, oh, I haven't seen something done like this before. So yeah, for me, really, it's just kind of like continuing to explore the world, honestly.
That's great. That's my goal. Trying to be different. There's so much out there that it's so hard to be different. It's like the hardest thing in the world. So thank you. I appreciate that.
My answer is extremely similar. It's exploring the world, but specifically exploring off the world. I don't know if the module will like lead us there, but if we do have a chance, I would be so excited to like leave Zos and actually see how these characters exist in like cosmos, like in the space. So like if we ever leave Zos, I want to see what like the stars in the galaxy looks like, and I'm super excited to like kind of a little bit see how like Silas, our human, is gonna like survive in the void of space, because like
I can
our
breathe.
others
I can breathe.
our others will be like fine, and yeah, like my character's gonna like, expand and do cool stuff in space, but yeah, I'm just like I love a setting description. So the description of like the flesh city was like so cool and like beautiful but brutal. So just seeing what else exists in the world and what exists specifically off the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carquinos was one of my favorite ideas.
I'm
Thank you.
really looking forward to doing the human part right. I think that like, not that the human is the most important character, but he is, because it's she. God dang, I can never get the gender right.
Playing a woman, Douglas.
I need a sign in front of me.
Also, you chose it.
I did. Well,
Yeah, you just need to post it over your head that says "I am a
yeah,
woman."
I know. But I mean, this is a metaphor. This is a sequence of metaphors about who we are and who we might become. And I think that the race with a choice in this story is the humans, and to try to figure out how to portray somebody who is corrupted, which makes it harder because you're kind of trying to be the bad guy, but also the good guy in a secret way, or get to be the good guy in a secret way. It's a fun challenge that I haven't figured out quite how to do yet, but it's kind of like slowly building a piece of furniture. You've just got to like keep plugging at it till you figure out, how do I build this thing that does what it needs to do? And so that's going to be the fun challenge.
And I will say we've already been kind of challenged in general with that, just in the sense of like how you view this, technically like the star folk on Zos already, like that are already there, and like how are you, like what's the difference between that and like the celestial beings that you're like traveling with? And it's very interesting.
We're getting there. It was kind of confusing to figure out, because I feel like the way we've built Silas is that when he was a kid, it was she. When she was a kid, it was she was living in a place where her corner of the world was not yet quite corrupted. So she kind of had a sense of what Zost had been. And to go from that to being a Star Slayer, where a corrupted Star Slayer wasn't seeing the world as it really was. And then to get this Halo helm where now she can see the Star folks. It's just a lot of things to navigate of like what is her understanding, what's her perception at any one time. But I think we're getting there.
It's a good challenge to have.
Oh, it's super fun. Super fun.
I was really glad that you picked a Star Slayer, because I think that's a great idea, and maybe even a possible redemption story arc, if that's something that happens organically. But if not, I just really am excited to see what you do with the character, because it's such a complex character, and yours is the only female Star Slayer ever.
Oh, okay.
Every Star Slayer is male, and that's in
Maybe that's why you're
it's
having trouble.
intentional.
Yeah, probably is why I'm having trouble.
Yeah, I mean it's
So that's another,
it's particularly interesting, right? Because you're playing a villain who, but not like a traditional. Well, not the way that villains are traditionally portrayed, right? Because you also have this, like instead of like you being this evil entity with like mwahaha energy, you're very much like feel like you're
Kind of naive.
yeah, I mean you're doing the right thing. Right. So like it's hard to reason with that, but I'll take your tongue if you don't get your shit together. So for me, I am always interested in playing characters more than anything else. I love story, so I'm interested in kind of where we're going, because it's we're in the very beginning developing stages of it, and I'm really jazzed about how it's going so far. So I'm interested to see where it's going. But more than anything, I love character. And so I think for me, really getting into motivations and the like history behind those motivations, and like and not just of me, but of my group that I'm playing with, I'm really interested to see that develop, because there's nothing juicier than like four strange beings hanging out together. It's just fun to watch it. And then also, of course, I'm playing with my friends who I have gotten to do this with over multiple campaigns, over multiple types of campaigns. So it's also really interesting to watch their brains kind of ruminate on the stuff you've given us to chew on, and then see how that plays out. Like I think that's probably what I'm most excited about, is to like see the material in action, because the material is already phenomenal. So then to watch brains that I know, love, and trust to then take that and build more with it, I'm just excited. So but that I'm nerd stuff. So nerds. Love them.
And then, is anyone worried or eager to encounter any specific creatures or locations that came up so far or that are mentioned?
I mean, just in general, probably, because holy cannoli, there's a lot going on.
Elizabeth yelled at me the last time I tried to look at the
we
game book.
We got reprimanded.
Last time I tried to look at the monsters,
Can't do
Elizabeth, I thought
we're not allowed to look, but one day when I get to full access.
Okay, well, let's talk about one major thing that's in the title: Lair of the Spider Lord.
Yeah,
and Spider Lords were just
do
introduced.
The obvious thing.
Well, I'm just saying.
Get me in that lair. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the next one.
Oh, dang. Sneak peek. That's awesome.
I mean, just
This
in
wasn't
general,
for
I
me.
don't really know what's coming up, but I feel like space, the vastness that you have created, there is a brutality that I am for sure has my knees quaking. So I don't know what's coming, but whatever it is, it's gonna be brutal, and I can't wait, because also I've never played a character at this level in this class. So I've like kind of reworked Rogue in a way to make it more on theme with a half comet. So it's just been really fun to play. So watch out, I'm fast.
Okay, good. I like that. As long as you watch your step and keep your wits about you, you should be able to survive. But it is pretty brutal.
I'm definitely most afraid of the Pantocrator, being on the verge of crossing him and like disobeying him. He's already a fearsome figure, but we haven't really seen him unleashed yet, so we'll see.
Which one?
The Pantocrator.
Oh, Pantocrator, yeah. Yeah, he's pure evil.
Gross. I mean, the way it was described, pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I had just seen Nosferatu and then like come and played, and then when Elizabeth was describing him, I was like, so Count Ola was like right in front of us, like skeletal and creepy and gaunt and sores, and I was like, I am not looking for it. Well, I am. Krotos is not looking forward to seeing what this guy can do, but Isolde's very excited to see what this guy can do.
The body horror was just like,
I love it.
Yeah, I elevated that a little bit.
Oh.
That was
that was gross.
Yeah.
I don't know what your brain is, but it's gross.
Yeah. It's all because John gave me this path.
And then my last question is just, I really love the art, the new character art for every character. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, it's just awesome. So that's my last question. It's related to that. So who's the brains, the brawn, the looks, and the wild card? Sort of a random question.
Dibs on wild card. Just because I don't consider Monovoscos brains, brawn, or I think wild card just because that's all I got.
Silas is definitely not brains.
No.
Brawn. Silas is brawn. I think.
Sure, but Silas.
I think Krotos is brain because he's a diplomat.
What does that leave? What was the
What?
other one?
Face? Was it brains, brawn,
I am
face?
a babe.
The looks.
Looks. Yeah.
You have a lot of
definitely.
eyes.
You
I
literally,
do have a lot of eyes.
Indo was described as like ethereally
true.
beautiful.
Yeah, I did describe myself as
Yeah.
beautiful.
You're the one with the looks with all the eyes.
And he
Yeah,
has
and you
like long
can-
flowing like locks.
Yeah.
That is just really just like
Yeah.
cosmic dust.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So pretty.
That's true. The comets, that's what the comets are known for. They're known for enchanting asteroids into becoming comets.
Ooh. All right, asteroids, let's go,
Sick
baby.
bit of lore. That's awesome.
That's so
They're
cool.
also very cold, so,
Hey, comes with the territory.
yeah.
I
not
lure
all
you
of
in
them.
and then I'm cold. I dig it. I'm here
Africa
for
was
it.
the warmest one, and then she became the moon. And the queen of the comets.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of characters and who we play in this campaign, I have a question for you, which is if you were at the table with us, who would you play? What race? What class? Who would you play in our game?
Oh, if it were like in the Astromythos universe or just in general in D&D?
Two separate answers. In general, in
Oh, okay.
D&D, what do you like to play? And then in Astromythos, what would you play?
Oh, that's a tough one. The first one's easy. Human or fighter or barbarian. Chaotic good. Yeah. I've always played barbarians. I love the
He-Man.
Conan series.
That's where He-Man comes in.
He-Man is just basically blonde Conan. Yeah, in space. So yeah, I have a lot of fun with barbarians. I always go back to barbarians, or maybe fighters. But oh shoot, probably a half star. I would probably just be Kuros. Kuros is one of the heroes in book 2. He's a half star, basically like space Spartan warrior or Corinthian warrior. And he has star powers and things like that. And I'd probably be that, like a half star warrior / fighter. lawful good, maybe chaotic good. Yeah. Well, he's not very lawful because he burns down forests. But anyway,
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta keep that chaotic in there anyway. It makes it a little bit more
yeah,
fun.
he's like a baby comet, a comet baby. So he can't help it. He destroyed a lot of property, a lot of Zos when he was a baby.
Superman.
But then he learned to control himself because he got help from the white dwarf stars.
Well, I love working in this setting. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a challenge for me as well. But you can find Astromythos Book 1 along with Lair of the Spider Lord, the module, on your website. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, on the shop page.
Great.
Yep.
And that's astromythos.com?
Right.
Cool. So
Yeah.
you can find all that there. Is there anything else you'd like everybody to know that you're maybe working on, or if you'll be anywhere, like any cons
yeah.
or?
I just did BossCon in Boston. Now I'm going to the Under the Dice in Massachusetts. Actually, I think it's in Connecticut this year. Then I'm going to Gen Con. Then I do the circuit: Gen Con, Connecticut, Gen Con, Dragon Con, LuxCon.
Cool. Well,
And
I'll see you.
hopefully, fingers crossed, San Diego Comic Con.
I will see you at Gen Con. I believe Anna will be at Gen Con too.
Good.
So we will definitely be there and say hello and hi. You can find Lair of the Spider Lord and Astromythos Adventure on our YouTube channel. We're going to release episode 2. This is probably going to come out after episode 2, probably. Yes. Yeah. So just kidding. We're not talking about episode 2 because it's already out. But you can watch episode 1 and 2 on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, John, for your brain. It's the moral of the story.
I could take it out and hand it over. But
It's really nice to
I'd be rid of it.
It's really nice to put your face on the name. Face to the name. I don't know how that's phrased, but it's really nice to get to chat with you. It's really great.
Same here. I think you guys are doing an awesome job. Kudos to all of you, and it's so cool to see it come to life in a new way. It's almost like an entirely new story. So it's just a phenomenal job. I'm really excited to see the second one. Cool. And to see you at Gen Con.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hopefully we'll have a few episodes out, more than that probably by Gen Con. So we're hoping that, Anyway, thank you so much, John. We'll let you go. And thank you, everybody else. And see you later.
All right, thank you so much.